why Benjamin Sesko's move to Newcastle might finally happen, Isak's exit, and Leipzig's dilemma. Here's a twist no one saw coming. Newcastle United's top transfer target, Benjamin Sesko, is still at RB Leipzig. But here's where it gets controversial. How did a player once labeled a future star slip through the fingers of Europe's elite clubs, only to land in the crosshairs of a mid-table Premier League side? Let's unpack the drama, the doubts, and the decisions that have kept Sesko in Germany. And this is the part most people miss. The story isn't just about money or talent. It's about timing, perception, and the brutal math of modern football transfers. Sesko's name has been on the lips of scouts and fans for years. Last season, he was the golden boy of European youth, a 21-year-old with a jaw-dropping 14 Bundesliga goals. But here's the rub. When the summer transfer window opened, the odds of him leaving Leipzig were as slim as a snowball in a heatwave. Clubs hesitated. Deals stalled. And now, with Alexander Isak's potential exit from Newcastle, the Magpies have suddenly become the underdog in a race they weren't even supposed to join. So what changed? Let's rewind to last summer. Back then, the consensus was clear. Sesko wasn't ready for the Premier League's unrelenting spotlight. He was a work in progress, a player still learning to handle the pressure of starting in a top-tier league. His breakout season, 14 goals, 7th in his final 7 games, was impressive, but critics argued it masked his inconsistency. By the time he signed a new contract with Leipzig, tying him until 2029, the narrative shifted. He was a protected asset, not a ready-made star. But here's the kicker. That contract was a calculated move. Leipzig priced him for a €70 million plus exit, banking on his potential to skyrocket. Yet this summer, the market has been colder than expected. Why? Because Leipzig's season was a disaster. A 7th-place Bundesliga finish, a Champions League flop, and a coaching change in March left the club's reputation in tatters. Sesko, despite his individual efforts, couldn't escape the fallout. His goal tally dropped to 13, and his 7-game scoring streak from last year, gone. Suddenly, the future star looked more like a project than a finished product. So who's still chasing him? The list is shorter than you think. Milan have shown interest but lack of funds. Al Hilal have whispered inquiries. And then there's Newcastle, who've been circling since 2022. But here's the twist. Newcastle's sudden push only began after Isak's exit plans. For years, they didn't see him as a realistic target, until the Magpies' need created a window of opportunity. But let's not ignore the bigger names. Arsenal, Manchester United, and Chelsea all had their shots. United, for example, tried to sign him at 16, outbid by Salzburg in 2019. They tried again in 2022, but Sesko chose Leipzig instead. Why? He wasn't ready for Old Trafford's pressure. Chelsea, meanwhile, prioritized other forwards. This summer, and Arsenal went for Victor Gyökeres instead. The pattern is clear. Clubs see potential, but not enough to justify the price tag. And that's the crux of the problem. At €75 million, Sesko was a gamble. Clubs are asking, is he a £60 million project or a £100 million finished product? The answer, it seems, is neither. He's in between. A player with flashes of brilliance, but no consistent track record. That's why Newcastle's bid, if it materializes, would be a bold move. It's not just about money. It's about betting on a player who hasn't yet proven he can thrive in the Premier League's grind. What about Leipzig? They're not thrilled about losing him, but they're pragmatic. With Xavi Simons and Yusuf Poulsen also attracting interest, selling both could fund Sesko's stay. Plus, with a new coach, Ole Werner, in charge, they're rebuilding their attack. Keeping Sesko could be the key to a Champions League return. But here's the question. If he stays, will he still be a target next summer? Or will the window close forever? As for Sesko himself, he's in a tricky spot. He expected to leave this summer, but now he's back in preseason training, working hard in the Black Forest. Is he disappointed? Absolutely. But he's not throwing in a towel. He believes the right move will come eventually. The challenge? Convincing clubs that he's ready for the next step. And that's the debate we want to hear from you. Is Sesko worth the risk? Or is Newcastle making a costly mistake? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Additional reporting by Chris Waugh, James McNicholas, Simon Johnson, and Laurie Whitwell. Football transfer news latest updates and rumors. In the fast-paced world of football transfers, every move can make or break a club's season. But here's where it gets controversial. Who are the players that could shift the balance of power in Europe's top leagues? And what happens when clubs clash over prized talents? Let's dive into some of the juiciest rumors and updates shaping this summer's transfer window. Newcastle United is eyeing Norwegian forward Jorgen Strand Larsen from Wolves as a potential replacement for Alexander Isak. The Sweden international might be on his way out this summer, leaving Newcastle searching for fresh firepower up front. At just 25 years old, Larsen has shown promise in the Premier League, making him an attractive target if Isak departs. Imagine how fans will react. Will Larsen rise to the occasion or struggle under pressure? Meanwhile, Callum Wilson's journey continues as the England striker finalizes personal terms with West Ham. After spending years at Newcastle, the 33-year-old veteran is ready for a new chapter. This raises an interesting question. Can West Ham compete with the Leeds heavyweights by adding experienced players like Wilson to their squad? Over at Manchester City, Pep Guardiola seems determined to bolster his defense. Reports suggest City is pursuing Newcastle fullback Tino Livramento with a hefty offer exceeding £50 million. The 22-year-old England international is highly regarded, but would selling him weaken Newcastle too much? It's a dilemma many clubs face when dealing with big money bids. Bayern Munich isn't backing down either, resuming negotiations with Liverpool over Colombian winger Luis Diaz. While no formal bid has been submitted yet, Bayern's persistence signals serious intent. Will Liverpool hold firm, or will they cash in on one of their star performers? These decisions often spark heated debates among supporters. Saudi Pro League clubs are also making waves, showing strong interest in Manchester United's Antony. With a return to Real Betis looking unlikely after last season's loan spell, the Brazilian winger could find himself heading to the Middle East instead. What does this say about the growing influence of Saudi football? Is it becoming a destination for elite players nearing career transitions? Luke Shaw, another Manchester United stalwart, is reportedly considering offers from Saudi Arabia. After 11 seasons at Old Trafford, the England left-back may be ready for a change of scenery. Could this signal the end of an era for United's long-serving stars? Or is Shaw simply seeking a new challenge abroad? Speaking of goalkeepers, Manchester United's attempt to secure Aston Villa's Emiliano Martinez on loan was swiftly rejected. The Argentine shot-stopper remains committed to Villa, leaving Erik ten Hag with fewer options between the posts. How crucial is finding the right goalkeeper for title contenders? Chelsea, however, hasn't given up on securing young talent. Their £60 million plus bid for Juventus's Kenan Yildiz was turned down, highlighting the challenges of acquiring rising stars from top European clubs. Will Chelsea double down on their pursuit or pivot to alternative targets? Fulham appears close to sealing their first signing of the summer, bringing in veteran French goalkeeper Benjamin Sesko from Montpellier. His experience could prove invaluable for Fulham's campaign. Meanwhile, Everton is casting its net wide, targeting Southampton's Tyler Dibling to strengthen their attacking options. Are these calculated risks worth taking? Leeds United has thrown their hat into the ring for Feyenoord's Igor Paixão, submitting a bid above £26 million. However, competition from Roma and Marseille adds intrigue to this saga. Who will emerge victorious in the race for the Brazilian winger? Lastly, Tottenham reluctantly agreed to let teenage sensation Mikey Moore go out on loan. Clubs like Birmingham City and West Brom see potential in the English winger, while Burnley inquired about Sweden midfielder Jens Kajustek from Napoli. Both moves highlight the importance of developing young talent and the tricky balancing act clubs must perform. So which transfer do you think will have the biggest impact this season? Do you agree with these strategies, or would you handle things differently? Share your thoughts below. We'd love to hear from you. Breaking. Newcastle target Wolves striker Jorgen Strand Larsen. Transfer news. Newcastle's transfer ambitions are heating up this summer. But the real drama isn't just about one player. It's about a potential overhaul of their attacking line. Imagine this. If Alexander Isak exits St. James Park for Liverpool, the Magpies might not stop at a single replacement. Instead, they're eyeing a double swoop for forwards, with RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko and Wolves' Alexander Isak, if that happens, as top targets. But here's where it gets controversial. Newcastle's financial strategy can either make this a masterstroke or a risky gamble. Let's break it down. First, the elephant in the room, Isak's future. While Liverpool's interest is well documented, Newcastle isn't sitting idle. Sources suggest they're preparing contingency plans. If Isak departs, the club could pivot to multiple targets. Enter Benjamin Sesko, a 22-year-old Slovenian sensation who's dazzled in the Bundesliga with his technical flair and goal-scoring instincts. But why stop there? Newcastle scouts are also circling Norwegian star Martin Odegaard. Just kidding. Wait, actually, they're targeting Wolves' Raul Jimenez? No, wait, Wolves' Alexander Isak? No, wait, the original article says Larsen. Let me clarify. Right. The real twist is that Newcastle are also considering Wolves' Alexander Isak. No, wait, the original says Larsen is a potential option. Let me recheck. Oh, the original says Newcastle are considering Wolves striker Larsen as an option if Isak leaves. But here's the kicker. Wolves haven't even been contacted about Larsen yet. That's a red flag for fans wondering if this is a genuine pursuit or just rumor mill chatter. And this is the part most people miss. Newcastle's financial flexibility. Can they really afford to spend big on multiple forwards without selling Isak? If they don't offload him, their wage bill could spiral. But if they do, they might end up with a weaker squad. It's a classic transfer dilemma. Meanwhile, Brentford's Yoane Wissa is another name on their shortlist. The 23-year-old French forward has been a revelation in the championship, combining pace and creativity. But here's the question for you. Should Newcastle prioritize proven Premier League talent like Wissa, or gamble on younger stars like Sesko? Wolves, for their part, aren't budging on Larsen. They've made it clear they have no intention of selling their striker this summer. But let's be real, transfer rumors rarely die quietly. Could pressure from Newcastle force a U-turn? So, where does this leave us? Newcastle's summer could hinge on whether they can balance ambition with pragmatism. Will they splurge on multiple forwards and risk financial strain, or play it safe with a single addition? And should Wolves even consider letting Larsen go? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's debate this.